2026 is going to be an awesome year. We got some pretty cool stuff coming up. First off, we got Foundations of Recovery. This is our flagship program. We're starting it in January.
This is for anyone, man, woman, or couple who wants to come and reclaim their heart from shame, trauma, and betrayal. We start off with an education on all sorts of principles, give you the common language. We feed you from a fire hose in terms of all things recovery.
It is such a great start to recovery. And we get at the roots of things, Tyler. This isn't like any other program. Like, this is our healing journey in process, and Foundations is where we begin.
If you look at the value that you're getting there to kick off a good recovery with all of the right education, all of the right language, and a team to get you started while also being directed by Brannon and myself through the whole process, what a deal.
So if you're interested, if you're struggling, if you've been wanting to do something for a long time, jump into this. This only comes around every so often, and we would love to have you there.
Click the link in the description to sign up for it. And to make it even sweeter, we're also including a raffle for a free pass to the Radiant Dawn retreat. Anyone who signs up for Foundations will be added to the raffle for that free Radiant Dawn pass. If you're a man and you sign up for Foundations, your name still gets entered, and you can give that pass away if you win it to any woman that you want to.
So what you're saying, Tyler, is if you sign up and participate in Foundations, you could possibly go to Radiant Dawn for free?
That's exactly what I'm saying, which is crazy because Foundations by itself is already an insane value.
Man, I sound so salesy. But it actually is awesome. So come to Foundations. And even if you don't come to Foundations, sign up for Radiant Dawn. It's beyond therapy, the best healing experiences that you can have.
Click the link below and come join us.
How do I deal with my ex?
Welcome to the Real Talk Recovery Podcast with the Therapy Brothers.
We're brothers, we're therapists, and we know recovery.
Bring your stories, your questions, your successes with real recovery.
Brannon, all sorts of interesting stuff that can come from such a simple question.
Yes.
And we got a really awesome guest on that actually has history with both of us from the past. So it's kind of fun to catch up with what you might consider an old friend. But before we get to that, how are you holding up today?
I'm living the dream. So I went to the Rise Festival over the weekend down in Las Vegas with my wife. And it's this festival where you light these lanterns. It's like Tangled, right? Where they light lanterns and the lanterns like float up. And so 6,000 people lit 2 lanterns each. So like 12,000 lanterns were just like floating up in the sky above me. It was kind of a surreal experience down in the Mojave Desert. So it was kind of spiritual and just amazing music. And I was totally just a hippie. It was great.
It sounds awesome, man. And it does sound a little bit like you went and relived Tangled a little bit. So did you find your true identity?
Oh yeah, I found my true identity, and so I'm on fire today. So
that's pretty cool. Good. It sounds like a really cool experience, man. Yeah, maybe we'll come down there and go with you next year or something.
No, come on down. But you got to be a hippie with me. Yeah. I'll expect you to attend the event with your shirt off.
Oh, that goes without saying. Okay, so
anyways,
let's get into
this
with
Toni.
Yeah. Okay. So Toni, welcome to the show. It's good to see you again.
Thank you, guys. I'm super excited.
Awesome. Well, why don't you just kind of, for our audience's sake, share with whatever background you feel comfortable with, and then ask your question, and we'll get into a discussion with you.
Okay. So I met my husband when I was 17 years old. So 23 years ago, we wrote each other while he served his mission. And then he got home. We dated for about 3 months, got married. We have 6 kids. We have had an amazing life together, really, mostly a really, really happy marriage. But about 5 years ago, I just started feeling a disconnect from him. It's 15 years. I'm thinking, we've kind of gotten used to each other. So I started talking to him about how can we get closer? How can we be more connected? And he didn't think that there was a problem. But I started putting a lot of effort into the marriage. But I just kept getting these feelings like something wasn't right. And through divine intervention, every single time I found out that he was having an affair. So we worked it out, tried to fix things. I caught him in another affair. We tried to fix things because, you don't get divorced. That's not what we're taught in the church. And we have these 6 kids. We have this amazing life. He's really good to me most of the time. I wanted to step back in and see if we can fix this. It's worth trying. He had a 3rd affair and we separated. I decided that I wanted a divorce. But then I started to see a lot of change that I had never seen in him before. So I decided to step back in. He moved back in, and we decided that our best chance would be to start over completely. So we moved to Texas. We'd been in Utah our entire lives, all of our families there. But we decided to move, new job, new house, new neighborhood, new ward, everything. And we had a great marriage, but it was even better. Like moving to Texas was one of the best things we ever did. It was awesome. And then out of the blue, at about a year and a half after we moved there, we were visiting for the summer in Utah. And I got an anonymous text from a neighbor that told me that he'd had a woman at the house for a week while we were gone. And I was done at that point again. Like I felt like I've literally given up my whole entire life to support you, to trust you, to fight for this marriage and for our family. And you cheated again. Like that was so devastating. But when I confronted him about it, he said that, he just didn't know who he was. He's been a good boy his whole life. He's always done what's right. And he just didn't know who he was. And I had, like, are we only doing these things because it's what we've been taught? Or do we really believe this? Who am I? And I understood that because I've gone through some things like that where it's like, why do I really do these things? Is it just because of what I've been taught in the church? Or do I really feel like this is what's right for me? So I decided to step back in again. I'm learning a lot, guys. I have been foolish, but we were really good again. And then this past October, I caught him texting someone and I was like, okay, this is a pattern and I can't do this anymore. So we separated and moved forward with divorce. I met with an attorney, so did he. And then I saw like mountains move and the changes that he was making were like, whoa, what is happening? This is really good, really good sign. I think anyway, he came to me on his knees and begged me to give him another chance. He promised me, the world. And at that time, he promised me a postnup, which I felt like would protect me in some things since I had moved to Texas. But I wasn't going to say yes, but I wasn't saying no, but I thought about it and he had made a lot of change. And it was the first time of all the affairs that I really felt like I knew who he was. I knew that this behavior would continue, most likely, but I chose in. And it was kind of empowering because it was like, I know who you are. I know this will probably happen again, but as long as you're willing to try and you're honest with me, I'm willing to stay here and work with you and keep going. We went through the disclosure process with Tyler. We went to Cancun and celebrated our 20-year anniversary. It was the most magical time of our life. He got me a new ring, recommitted his love, hired a pastor to remarry us on the beach. It was amazing. We got home and the next month was amazing. And then I just kept getting these feelings and come to find out he was in multiple active affairs. And one of them was from the very beginning. So I was 1,000% done. he moved out and we've been separated for about 5 months. So that's my backstory. I'm sorry it was so long.
No, that's good, Toni.
That's great.
But my question is like, well, do you want to go into it, or do you want me to ask?
Go ahead and ask it, Toni.
What I'm really struggling with is I don't regret staying. Like, I feel like I gave my all. I feel like I have a tendency to see the good in people, and I want to trust, I want to love, I want to do what's right, keep my family together. And so I don't regret staying. I feel like it was a gift to, like, my baby is 5. I feel like it was a gift to my kids to have their dad in their home for that extra 5 years, especially when we were so happy together. But he has hurt me so deeply. And I feel like I'm confused, and I feel like something's wrong with me because, like, I still love him, not in a sense that I want to be with him or like I want him in that way, but I still love the man that I fell in love with, that I loved for 23 years of my life. But he's not that man anymore. And it's so hard for me to separate like who I fell in love with, who I thought that he was all this time, with the man that he actually is. It's like he's dead, like he died, but he's still here. I see him all the time. So I just don't know how to separate those feelings. I feel like something's wrong with me, and I don't know how to process it.
Mm-hmm. How do those, Toni, how do those feelings that you're having like manifest in your world right now? Like how are they showing up, and what problems are they causing for you?
So some things are, I'm lonely and I want companionship, and like I'll want to text him and just go and cuddle, anything just to have him hold me in his arms, because that's who comforted me for so long. And other things are, I just want to be his friend. Like, why can't we just be friendly? If I'm not mad at you for what you've done to me, like you have no reason to be upset with me. And I want to have peace, and I don't want to have these bad feelings. And I feel like maybe that's a gift that I have, to be able to forgive and move on. But I hate it at the same time. Like, he'll be horrible to me. And most of the time it is cordial, but then he'll just say like, kick me when I'm down kind of a thing, and mock me and demean me. And then I'll just cry and cry and cry and go into this low place. And then I process it, I come back out, and I want to be friends. And it's like, I don't know that that's healthy. He'll call me over for a booty call, and I'm like, what is happening? Like, mm-hmm. I don't want that piece of you. But then there's a piece of me that just misses him so much that I long for what we had, even though I understand that's not what is happening. That's not what's there anymore.
So when he calls you over for a booty call and it hits the nerve inside of you that's remembering all of the old times and all of the possibilities and the things that you thought you had, if you end up going over there for that, it's almost like you're trying to hold on to something that really isn't there anymore, but it was there enough that you're like, it's like trying to hold a handful of sand with it running through your fingers and thinking you're going to keep all of the grains of sand.
Yeah. And I logically know that he's not that person, but it's so hard to not see him that way because I did for so long.
My question is did you see him that way because that's what you wanted to see, versus was that who he really was? So like, was he ever not struggling with addiction in your marriage?
As far as I have been able to discover, everything started 5 years ago. As far as I've found so many things. I know there's so much that I don't know, because literally everything I know I have found through God guiding me. But I've never found any evidence of pornography addiction or masturbating, anything like that. I've never found anything. It was just, we're the great couple. Boom, he's having affairs, which doesn't make any sense, but I don't know anything else.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense to me either, Tony. Of all of a sudden, and kind of knowing the patterns of behavior here, it was so compulsive and so like it didn't stop. It just didn't stop. And to have that all of a sudden just fire up 5 years ago out of the blue, this is either a major midlife crisis thing that just like boom blew up, or there's a lot that was going on behind the scenes that you never knew about.
Right.
And might still not know about. And what I wonder, and I'll just say this out loud, I wonder how much denial you have worked yourself into to try to see him in that light of, I think, Tony, you say one of my problems is I see the good in people. I think you genuinely do see the good in him. And I think there's a lot of good there in him. I think, but you cling to that so much so that it sets you up to betray yourself.
Yeah.
And of like, okay, I will see the good, I will have positive regard, but I will disregard my feelings of anger, resentment, frustration, all of these important feelings that protect you, that are very important and good for you. I'll push those to the side because I just want to love. I just want to give love.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying, Tony?
Yeah. And that's how I feel. I want to give love. I don't want to have those feelings in my heart. I feel like I have them and they come, but I process them. I have compassion and I feel like I've become so much more boundaried that when he is, he shows up mean, I don't tolerate it and I leave the situation, but then I process it and I see like hurt people. He's probably like, I probably trigger his shame so bad every time he sees me that he goes into this place that he knows what he's done. That's how I feel anyway. And so I feel like I have compassion that he's hurting and I want to.
Can you have that compassion and that positive regard and not have it lead to betraying yourself?
I hope so.
Yeah. I think what makes this really challenging is that, I'm sure our listeners are even listening and they're like, yeah, divorce the guy. Like he's a schmuck, but it's like, actually the truth is that it would be easy if it was all or nothing. If he was all addict and all just like defensive and angry, that'd be an easy decision. But you know what? You've been with this man for as long as you have, and he has treated you with kindness. He has treated you with gentleness. He's provided for you financially. He's been there for you emotionally. Like all of those things are actually true.
Right.
Right. So that's the hard part is that you're dealing with a man here who has a massive problem. And I think Brannon's right. It's probably around a lot longer than even you knew. Yeah. He's got a massive problem that's kind of like this like fatal flaw for being able to manage a good, healthy relationship. But it doesn't change the fact that he's also all of these other good things.
I don't know, Tyler. I don't know if I totally agree with what you just said. I think, okay. and I think this is important. Like Tony, you don't know what you don't know. You married him. How old were you when you got married?
19.
You were 19. So, like trust, safety, intimacy. Like your experience of that is with him.
Yeah.
And you don't know what it might be like with somebody who has some real healthy masculinity, honesty, and integrity. And you're saying, well, for 15 years you had that. I have a hard time believing that.
I would say, Brannon, there was never integrity fully.
Yeah.
But there was empathy, there was kindness, there was some level of engagement. Maybe it was performance based, maybe it wasn't, but those are elements of who she was married to.
But Tyler, so this is interesting because I know we've both been in this position where we're working with a couple and the guy comes in maybe for an individual session and he leaves that session knowing that I have positive regard for him. I see the goodness in him. And it's true. Like it's genuine. I see him as such a good soul and a good man and just like, and then I'll have a session with her maybe later that day or the next day, and I'll work with her on how she's going to go about the divorce.
Right. Exactly.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because for her, it's empowering her to be honest with herself about who she is and what her boundaries are. So both can exist. He can be a good soul.
Yes.
And she needs to distance from him because she will have to destroy her truths and betray herself in order to stay married to him.
Yes.
And that's an excruciating divorce because there's still love there. There's not apathy. There's not just anger there. But divorce is still important for her to protect herself.
Yes, 100%. I think Toni is making the right decision to go through with the divorce. All I was getting at is that it makes exactly what you said. It makes it extremely excruciating because it would be easy if she could just get divorced and be like, yep, he's dead to me. He is a full-blown addict. He ruined my life. But Toni, because of the work she's doing, actually sees the full aspect of it. And where I think you're getting tripped up, Toni, is not in actually seeing him as human, and not even in actually like missing or grieving the loss of the good things you had in the relationship. It's going so far into that place of forgiveness and compassion and love that you then turn around and go and want to pursue something that's going to end up with more of your own like self-worth cashing the check on it.
But Toni, I want to ask you this, and this is going to be a hard, blunt question, but is it truly forgiveness, compassion, and love, or is it desperation?
I really feel like it's forgiveness because don't judge me, guys, but I've already been dating, and I feel like I have opportunities to have that companionship and to cuddle with somebody if I need to cuddle with somebody. But I really genuinely feel like this is something that I've experienced multiple times in my life. When people have wronged me, I see their pain. Like, guys, this is what I'm saying. Like, what is wrong with me? Because every single one of these women that he has had an affair with, like, I want to reach out to them. Not like I want to say what you did was wrong, but I see your pain. Like, why am I like this? Because I know that people that are good and happy, they don't do these kinds of things. So they have to have pain. They have to have suffering. And my heart aches for them in that way. And I don't understand why I feel that way.
Toni, last week, a couple people did some horrible things to me. And I had to have a really difficult conversation and hold a line and have a boundary. And I was kind of cold and I was kind of mean in that conversation. And they walked out the door and my heart just like sunk and just went out to them. I felt bad that they felt bad. And there's a part of me that was like, why am I like, why can't I just have this F you attitude and like, hey, like screw you guys, like. But instead I had this like deep love and like sadness that they were feeling sad in that moment. I don't think that's a bad part of us, Toni. I really don't. I think it becomes a problem when I chase them down and I say, come back. There's not consequences to your behavior. Mm-hmm. Come back. I don't want you to feel bad. Then we're caretaking for them because of our bleeding hearts. Right. Mm-hmm. Do you see that? So it's this uncomfortable space of I can be sad for their pain and I can sit in them dealing with the consequence of what they've done at the same time. And it's a really uncomfortable space to be in. Yeah.
Especially when I feel like one thing I've struggled with my whole life is codependency. And I'm a rescuer. Like, I just want to rescue you and make it all be okay. And so I feel like I have really, really made great strides in that. I feel like finally being done and for sure getting divorced, like that was a huge step to be away from that. When we went through the disclosure process and I did my impact letter, I said some awful things. And my first instinct was I'm so sorry I said those things. Like, I didn't mean it this way, but I was like, no, this is his to own. He has to deal with it himself. He has to find a way to handle his own emotions. And I did nothing. And that was a really big step for me too. I feel like I'm getting better at those things, but maybe it's the codependency of just constantly wanting not wanting to hurt people, not wanting to see their pain, even though they caused their own pain.
Yes.
I want to rescue it.
Yeah. Well, and I think you just said something there, Toni, that's really important, that you were saying for him, you were offering him the gift to learn how to own his own emotions. And what I think Brannon is saying is that you get to offer yourself that same gift, like, but in a different way, that when that bleeding heart starts to come out, you're not going to kill the bleeding heart. You're going to learn to trust yourself to feel those emotions without having to go and try to rescue. Because once you start to do that, you're actually partly doing it more for your own sake and your own self than you are even for the concern you have towards that other person. Because it's like, I can't tolerate this, like discomfort.
Their pain, the discomfort of their pain.
Yeah. It's like, no, it's okay. Like, I hate that I feel that, but I'm okay. I know that I can meet myself with compassion. I know that I can have healthy outlets of coping. I know that I can go flush those feelings somewhere else. And it's actually the more compassionate thing to let that responsibility stay in the court that it belongs, rather than going and almost taking it back by meeting up for the booty call or whatever else. Like,
and I haven't, just for the record.
Way to go, Toni.
Not one.
Way to have a boundary, Toni.
Even though you really wanted to, and that's okay too. Like, that's good work. Like, that is the hard work. So good for you. That's great.
Yeah.
He doesn't deserve this, y'all.
Absolutely. Heck yeah.
Yeah. And it is, and it's okay to have, like, I know your husband. I actually really like your husband, like Brannon said. And there's a part of me that aches for him. There's a part of me that just wants to punch him in the face in an older brother kind of a way. You know, like that, say, dude, like, when are you going to come to your senses? And the truth is that at the end of the day, all of those feelings can coexist. Like, it's okay that I can love him and be angry at him and be sad for him. And they can all, it's okay. That's part of my human experience. And I think it's an indicator of how much I actually care for him. Now I've got to stay boundaried and just let my feelings be my feelings. That's the hard part. It sounds like that's what you're working really hard on that space, trying to find where that line is.
And I do agree with you. I do feel like I have gotten so much better at that, though, of just sitting in my feelings, allowing the consequences to play out. And then there's still that piece of me. I feel like it has become this way because of the experiences that I've experienced with my own situation, with friends, with my support group women, with my father-in-law, where there's so much shame in our culture that I just want to help these people that have, been driven to these behaviors through so much shame. I just want to be that person to say, hey, like, I see your pain. I'm here. I accept you. I get this is hard. And so I guess I become so passionate about, like, get rid of the shame culture and just love each other and share your stories, that it's getting in the way of, like, all my friends have this ick feeling for their exes. And I'm like, I just don't have it. Like, what's wrong?
But that's all fine and dandy. Like, Toni, that's good that you want to love them and see their pain and all those things. And it's interesting because you talk about the friends that you have in recovery who need to hate their husbands in order to, and really there's a space in the middle that is, I have forgiveness in my heart. But I don't need to stay trapped in a marriage where I'm cheated on, where I'm emotionally abused, where I'm manipulated, in order to extend that forgiveness and in order to extend that love. And so that's the space where you have to love yourself and have boundaries for yourself to truly extend love to others.
Right.
And so that has to happen. You can't sacrifice yourself into that love for others. And that's what you're learning, right, Toni?
Yeah. And I guess that's where I feel like I do love myself. I've been boundaries. I don't, like, tolerate this behavior when he's around me. So I don't feel like I'm stuck in, like, giving up myself to love him. I do love myself, and I know that I'm worth protecting. And I still feel this compassion for him.
But that's why, Toni, after all these years, you love yourself and you're worth protecting. And that's the reason, well, I got to say this carefully because it's not the actual reason why you're getting divorced, but it is the reason why you're getting divorced now, because he would continue to play this game with you for as long as you would have let him.
Exactly.
Right. And the reason you're getting divorced is because he's broken so many boundaries in your relationship. But you could have stayed married.
Yeah.
But you have enough love for yourself to say, nope, I'm not going to stay married. And I still love you. My heart still goes out to you. I kind of see this. It's interesting, Toni. I kind of see it as a grief issue. So if you look at grief, you're in the process of grieving, and there's different stages of grief. There's anger, there's denial. And your anger stage has come, but it probably comes and goes pretty quick. And what I'm really seeing is you in this bargaining stage of grief, where it's like, if only he were different that way, or if he's like, and I saw you there for a long time, kind of, well, if only, like, if he could change this, and now we're having a really good time of, and even during that really good time when he's remarrying you, there's still all this other crap going on. But that bargaining part of you was like, I want to make sense of this. I want this to work out in my mind somehow. And I think as you look at the situation now, it's important that you see the good in him as a soul, as a human, and you stay grounded in the reality. Grief is just a process of coming to terms with reality. And the reality is he's a person that will lie to you. He's a person that will manipulate you, and he's a person that will hurt you if you let him get too close.
Yeah.
That's the reality. And you can love him, and your heart can go out to him. So both those things coexist at the same time. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I wonder, Toni, if you're sitting here and you're like, what's wrong with me? I can forgive him and I can love him. Like, I'm supposed to be mad at him and hate him. Like, that's what everybody else does. And I wonder if that's maybe part of the struggle that you're having here, is that somehow you're still in, like, you're judging yourself according to what's supposed to be. And you're almost like supposing yourself into maybe a place of being in less health than better health. Like, great. Like, what's wrong with being in this space that you're in, where you have moved into a place of at least forgiveness and letting go of the things that he's done to you? Why not just allow yourself to be where you're at, instead of judging yourself against, the 10 other women that have been through this?
Shitting on myself. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, basically. Like, I wonder if there's some added, I wonder if there's any added little bits, shavings of suffering being sprinkled over the top of this thing by doing that to yourself, instead of just saying, you know what, I am grieving, and I wish the pain would go away. I wish that I didn't have that aching and longing inside to have the good things that were there, but I do. And it's okay that I do. It doesn't mean that I'm going to act on them in any way today, because I am moving on and I'm grieving, and I'm going to let this thing die, even though I'm going to have to talk to him tomorrow again.
Right.
But I'm going to let the relationship continue to move, and I'm going to trust myself to just be in the pain that I'm in for now, with an eye of looking forward to the next steps of my life as well. But no judgment for yourself that you should be in a different spot than you are. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think that's exactly what it is it is the grief process I'm struggling to find closure. Like I said, like, this is dead. Like, the man that I thought that he was is gone, but he's still part of my life. And it's just so hard to get to that closure. Like, there's just no closure in my mind in so many ways.
Yeah.
It's just like waiting for justice. Like, I'm never going to get justice probably in this life, but it's like, you can't heal until that justice is filled, and that's kind of the cycle that I feel like I'm in. And I just feel like I can't get that closure. And I want to show up this way. Like, I want to have peace and harmony and love for this man that my kids, he's a great dad to them. I see him. He will be part of my life for a long time. I don't want to have these ill feelings, but I just wish I could like someone could just shake me and say, your life was a fantasy. It wasn't real. Wake up. Because so much of it wasn't real. And I believed that it was, and it wasn't. But how do you accept something that you lived and you thought was real?
Yeah. Well, I think Brannon just tried to shake you and I backed him off of it. So I'm sorry for that.
Okay. I'm ready.
Well, this question is really good, Toni, are your feelings of forgiveness and love, are they actually protective measures that are acts of fear? Or are, and so the question is like, Toni, I haven't hardly ever seen you in anger. And I don't know if you have an angry bone in your body, to be honest with you. Okay. Yeah. Well, you do have 6 children. So, but what I have seen you in is, like, I've heard a lot about what a good man he is. I've heard a lot about how wonderful he is and how there's so much goodness in there, and he's turning it around and he's turning it around and he's turning it around and over and over and over again. I've heard a ton of that. And then I've also seen a lot of tears come out of you. So I've seen a lot of sadness and a lot of just pain. And then kind of immediate, like, I just want him to be good and I want to see the good in him. I want to see the good in him. And to me, it's a setup, and it's a setup for you in future relationships as well. I don't want you to get into a relationship again where, when you feel a bit of anger or you feel a bit of like frustration with a partner, you immediately shut that down and you try to just say, no, I want to keep the peace. I want to keep the peace. I want you to step up and say, that pissed me off. Yeah. And this doesn't work for me. And I want to step into this conflict with you. And I want to be okay with you feeling uncomfortable that pissed me off.
Yeah.
So that we can sit in that place to work through it. Because if you can't, if you don't allow yourself to have the strength to step into those, and I'm going to say quotation marks here, those negative emotions, I actually think you really need to learn how to honor those negative emotions.
Yeah.
You really need to learn how to find those negative emotions and be like, oh, you need to be a kind of a badass bitch a little bit, Toni. Okay. Do you know what I mean? like, and I'm not saying be vindictive and like resonate in anger and that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, don't immediately disregard you. And like, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
It's almost like the habit has been formed inside of you, which is phenomenal, that you're able to like notice that tinge of anger and then boom, move right into forgiveness and let it go. And what Brannon, I think, is saying is, what if we were to actually just have like an hour or two layover in that spot and just allow yourself to fully actually acknowledge it, process it, validate that that's exactly what you're experiencing, how you feel, and then trust yourself to know you're going to move on to those other places that you normally get to anyway, but give yourself,
that you're not going to be stuck there.
Give yourself the full experience. We already trust that we know how to, you know how to get through that really quickly. But maybe part of what's keeping you stuck in this grieving process is those other short stops that you have that automatically get dismissed, haven't felt like they've had a chance to fully process themselves.
Yeah. And I hear and I see what you guys are saying. And I guess I feel like I do step into those emotions. And I've been practicing it so much with my kids. Like, my son was disrespectful the other day. And, in my past, I would have, just kind of sulked, like, oh, you hurt my feelings, I'm going to go be sad. But I was like, hey, you must have misunderstood me for a mom that puts up with disrespect, but that's not who I am.
Excellent.
Like, I've been practicing it so much with my kids. When I was I've been on dates, but there was something that this guy did that I didn't like. And I was like, hey, this didn't work for me. And I feel like I really am stepping into those things and like feeling them. I cried for about a week the last time that we got in a fight a couple of weeks ago. And I was so sad and depressed and cried and cried and cried. And I didn't reach out to him. Like, I felt all the things and this does not work for me. And then I processed it and I came out. But I do feel like I'm allowing myself to feel those emotions. I feel like I've just done a lot of work that I can get out of it also.
Yeah.
It's interesting, Toni, like Tyler and I treat betrayal trauma, and we have for years. And it, like, sometimes people can get stuck in anger and just a victim role to their partner, right? And so we push them to say, like, let's have you take accountability for your own life, to not give them so much power, to move on, to right. But at the same time, them going through that part or that phase of the process of recovery is important.
Yeah.
And so it's just a matter of, where do you get stuck? Like, if you're getting stuck in the anger, that's a problem. If you're getting stuck in the bargaining, or the denial, that's a problem. And so it's a matter of understanding where you are in that process, but working yourself to that acceptance. And that's important. And right now you're stuck in terms of acceptance a little bit. Your heart still has a lot of love there for him, and hope that, like, he's the man that you wanted him to be.
Right.
But
you're like a fool if, like, I believed all of this stuff and it wasn't real. I feel so foolish. Like, you duped me. You totally manipulated me.
Sure.
And it's hard. And it's like, you ruined my whole life. I had this plan and we did everything right, and you ruined my life. I hate him for that. And then I'm like, but it's okay, because I've learned all of these things, and I'm going to be better, and I'm going to be able to help people. And I move past it because I know who I am now, and I like who I have become so much better than where I was, that I'm grateful for what I've learned.
Toni, that's all wonderful. That's all that's beautiful if that's true. If you really have moved into that. So, and I feel like you have to go through that. You duped me, and you manipulated me, and you did things to me that were not okay. You have to go through that part of it to get to that second part of it. And if you jump past that part of it, there's a problem with that, because you're not being fully honest with yourself. Do you see what I'm saying?
Okay.
This is maybe where Toni starts judging herself a little bit, but I'm thinking, like, our listeners right now are probably coming through the freaking airwaves right now going, this man had multiple affairs going on with you. At the same time, he created this amazing place to Cancun, renewal of the vows, getting a pastor, like what the hell?
Who does that?
Yeah. Like, seriously, like, what sick freak does that?
Yeah.
Right. And for you to be like, yeah, I was mad for like 2 minutes, and then I just figured, you know what? I've learned a ton. And like, I know I'm giving you a hard time.
But Tyler, who does that to a woman who just, like, is trying so hard to love him and just,
Right. No, exactly. And I think that's it, is like, that's the part that you're trying to get to with Toni, is to say, it would be okay, and it would be within the realm of normal to actually spend a little time in that, like, bewildered, like, whoa, like, this was an orchestrated, this wasn't like somebody making a mistake. This was a full-on orchestrated manipulation that was intended for something other than actual loving you. And like, to have that part of you go, okay, like, I was duped, and it wasn't my fault, but that feels really gross. And, and you've spent some time in those places, but that's where I think Brannon's trying to go, is to say, it's okay if you feel those things and feel them for longer than a little short blurb before you're like, but man, look how much I've learned, this and this and this. That you're doing the right things. In fact, this feels weird to have this conversation, because Brannon and I are usually trying to push betrayed spouses into the place you're already in.
Positive regard. Yeah.
Right. Like, we want you to be, we want you to end up where you're at. We just want to make sure that where you're at is, like, fully authentic, and that everything else has had a chance to, all the other voices inside of you have a chance to be heard and understood.
Yeah.
And I think you are actually an amazingly resilient person, Toni. And I think you're also going through some things that are just going to be, no matter what you do, all the good work you're doing, you're going to experience some of the pain that you're feeling. I'd also add to it, though, that I think that one place where you could help yourself is you are going to have to interact with them on the daily basis. Still, you're still going to have to and there's going to be these little pieces of you that are going to want to let it be maybe a little bit more personal than maybe it should be for you
at this point in the game.
At this point right now, when he's texting and reminiscing about something, or when he's saying, "Hey, let's do a booty call," or I wonder if you, just for the sake of giving yourself the time and space away, were to set the boundaries a little bit further out to say, "Hey, we're going to have conversations around the kids."
Not out of meanness or
no. I'm still going to feel for you. I'm still going to love you. I'm still going to grieve the loss of all these things. But for my sake, I can't keep going into this place of, oh yeah, that would be awesome to go to his place, or, oh, man, remember this thing here and here. Yeah, you guys might actually be able to get to that later on, a few years down the road. But right now, maybe for your sake, it's okay to set some of those boundaries to say, hey, we're only going to talk about these specific things, not because I'm bitter and angry, but because that's just what has to happen for my health right now.
Mm-hmm.
I love the story that you just told, Toni, with your kids. I think you're mistaking me for a mom who's going to tolerate disrespect.
I love that.
And so coming back to what Tyler's saying is I think you're mistaking me for an ex who's going to tolerate disrespect. And I love you. I see, as a person, you're going to be a great ex-husband. That's going to be wonderful.
But kids are so lucky. But
you are now my ex-husband. We don't need to be best friends. We don't need to be you're my ex-husband and I can see the good in you. And I'm not going to take on when he'll come to you and he'll ask you to take his disrespect. He will not blatantly
package it up in a nice way. Hey, I'm missing you, or I need you, or remember this.
And every time he does, he's going to hit that button inside of you that hits the bleeding heart. That's going to say, I know Toni and I know she'll take the bait here. Yeah. And you're going to say, no, I think you might be mistaken. I'm not that woman anymore. I can see the goodness in you, but the answer is no. Or that's not going to work for me. Or I need this distance from you now because I'm moving forward in my life.
Yeah, I've already written those power statements in preparation for that because I read this book called F Him. It was really good. But it was I'm sorry, you must have misunderstood me for a woman that puts up with this crap, but I don't. It's I've written these things out in, anticipation of that happening.
Excellent. Yeah. Yes. Well,
Toni, we're getting a little short on time. Do you have other thoughts, feelings? What's your current state of emotion, even just right now with Brannon and I talking at you?
No, I really appreciate your perspectives. And I think I want to be in the place that I am in, but maybe recognizing that maybe I missed some steps and maybe I didn't spend as much time as I should have in certain steps of the grief. I do feel like I'm stuck in that process and it's a constant roller coaster of I hate him, I love him. You guys know about that.
Yep.
And I'm so angry at him, but I want to have peace and harmony in my life because I don't want to feel those feelings. So maybe I tried to get to the finish line too soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, and it's going to be a process. And I think what I would say is you already have the ability to know you can move yourself to a great place. Mm-hmm. It's trusting yourself to feel the painful emotions and know that you can trust yourself to experience those things too. And you already have it. You've got all the goods, Toni. Yeah.
And maybe a lot of it is fear, with the mediation coming up and the divorce finalizing, how is he going to screw me? And so I want to be nice so that he doesn't take more from me. And maybe once it's done, I can be screw you, we're out.
Maybe, well, that might be true.
Toni, I'm gonna give you maybe the greatest compliment I can give someone, but your energy reminds me of my grandma. And
Thanks,
yeah,
Brandon.
and she was the most loving, kind. Like when I'd go to her house as a kid, it was just like, I know that she just thinks I am the best. I am amazing. She just had compassion for me and everyone around her. And I think that's naturally you, and you're like her. And to be honest with me, it pisses me off when I see somebody take advantage of that in
Your
somebody.
Goodness, so much goodness, so much.
And so, like, I want to protect you in that. I want your anger to come out so that you can protect that who you are as a person who's just so loving and kind and compassionate toward others. And so protect yourself so that you can give that to the world, because that's who you really are, Toni.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any last words today, Toni?
You guys are the best. I am so grateful for the work that you guys do. You've changed my life and helped me in so many ways, have provided opportunities through support groups to give me the best friends I've ever had in my life. And I'm just so thankful for the work that you're doing.
Thanks, Toni.
Well, thank you, Toni. Thanks for your courage to come on today. And I think I can say it safely for both Brannon and myself that we do love you and we care about you. And I'm personally extremely proud of the work that you're doing. And you are a light, and I appreciate you being willing to come and shine that light today for other people. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, you guys, if this was helpful, if Toni's story was helpful, please don't be afraid to share it with somebody in a similar situation. And we'll talk to you guys later. We'll see ya.